Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 11am Field 2 Division 1 women's fixture between the Seattle Grizzlies women and the Minnesota Freeze women's teams. For those of you who were following closely yesterday, Minnesota provided the upset of the last few years where they were successful in defeating the Golden Gate team, the first defeat I believe since 2016. So wonderful performance there from the Freeze, which really demonstrates their investment and commitment over the last sort of 12 months, particularly with head coach Mark Fisher really building a very strong program of committed athletes there. So really interested to see how the Freeze bounce back today to maintain that energy as they head towards hopefully a grand final later this afternoon, and up against them. Their opponents today is the Seattle Grizzlies, who have had a mixed campaign so far this year. Head coach Andrew Donnelly there as well has done a really nice job and got about 6 or 9 new players taking the field this weekend as well. So really good balance of experience and fresh talent there for the Seattle team. So as we see the players taking their positions, for those watching from home, the breeze almost sort of turned a little bit, coming a little bit across the field, but probably favouring the left to right. As we get underway here at the moment, you'll see Seattle going left to right, Minnesota running the other direction, obviously. So here we go, siren sounds, 20-minute halves, the ball is up and underway. Ball hitting the ground, Minnesota quickly to pick up the scraps off the ground and move the ball forward by hand. Quickly looking to move it ahead there is number 11 over, there's that Connor Lewis there, number 23, it's Kaya Segulia for Minnesota Freeze there at the moment. So ball moving forward in towards that 450, there she is again, great defensive effort and effort from the Seattle player, number 11, Katja Hewitt. Ball there on the ground. I think the umpire is going to just blow that one up there and have a stoppage. First ball up in the game. Good little start there from the Minnesota players, getting the ball out of the centre, moving towards that forward 50. Ball up again, running the ball, moving it by hand in a little bit further in that forward 50. There it is to Lindsay Ellison. Very strong player with a background in rowing and soccer from the University of Minnesota. Had a really solid game yesterday afternoon against the Golden Gate team. Seattle doing a nice job defensively, looking to get that ball out of the 50 after a strong entry from Minnesota, and Seattle just moving that ball downfield nicely as it misses both players. Seattle getting some good ball movement there at the moment as well. Ball bounces favourably, lovely use of the hands as they push the ball forward. Just kicks in that forward 50 and it'll be a foot race there with Sophie Pluger from Minnesota, just being a little bit muscled out of the way by a Seattle opponent in Liz Formenton. But really nice work done down by the back to move the ball down the wing as that ball is moving towards the boundary sideline, but I don't think it's going to have enough juice to get there as it was just socketed forward. Picked up nicely off the ground by the Minnesota players. Some good defensive work. The ball still remaining inside the field of play. Strong tackle over the top there. Umpire says incorrect disposal and free kick award to the Minnesota player with a lovely kick straight into the corridor. Bounces favourably. Great running there from the Minnesota player, or the Minnesota team, I should say, as the ball moves itself forward to Catherine Hoha as she again goes over the top, over Seattle defender being April Munn. Ball socket off the ground by Lauren Shelton over the Minnesota Freeze. So that's the first points of the game to Minnesota with the behind. So watch AFL scoreboard 0-1-1. Seattle yet to score. As he has the experienced April Munn coming out of the back pocket defensively there. She's got a really strong right foot kick. So we see she just lays it up in that instance there to Anna Brancati. Anna Brancati unfortunately looking the ball to move down the line, but the Minnesota player in Gretchen Gilbreth well positioned to take that intercept mark. Pushes the ball back in the forward 50. Strong defensive effort from April Munn over the back there, really spoiling the ball. Ball back out there, it is to Connor Lewis and the jersey number 25 from the Minnesota Freeze as she promotes the ball by hand back into the middle corridor. Umpire says incorrect disposal. It's going to be a free kick there awarded to Seattle. Got plenty of players there from Seattle looking to make a lead, and great exit right out over the top there to Kacher Hewitt again. Had a couple of very good, strong early touches there as Kacher moves the ball down the wing again. Good numbers there from Seattle, 3-on-1. Nice use of the ball with the hands. Unfortunately, the ball just rushes over the sideline there. Boundary umpire is going to give us a boundary thrown right in front of the commentary box here at the moment. Two rucks, nice position. Ball up nicely from the boundary umpire wing. Gets a hand on it. He did such a good job the first time, he's going to get to do it again. Looking for the two rucks. Nominated himself there at the moment. Ball's in the air. Wynn capturing it again. Connor Lewis, lovely use of the hands in very limited sort of space and opportunity. Ball rushed over the sideline there again for another boundary throw-in. Boundary umpire getting plenty of practice there again with Connor Lewis, almost a repeat of what she did just before. No, she did not manage to keep the ball in there, so we're going to have a ball up here again. Really nice groundwork there from Connor Lewis. Picking the ball up off her feet and going again. That one got caught in the breeze a little bit more than the others. Seattle come away with it. Minnesota again getting good numbers behind the ball. Some nice running there, looking plenty of options. Seattle realising sometimes you need to go backwards to go forward, but strong defensive effort. Number 26 from Minnesota. Don't have that lady's name on the scoreboard, unfortunately, but she does a really nice job in scrambling in defence and pushing that ball forward. But Seattle very quick to get numbers back there as well. That's off to Lindsay. Handball again in that forward. That's Kaya Segoya. April Munn well positioned to clean up the scraps. Moves the ball nicely forward into space. Beautiful kick from April, but Minnesota got two players there. What can we do to spoil it? Great effort here if we can get the stoppage. I think what Seattle would be looking for. Minnesota are able to put some good bodies behind it to clean up the scraps and keep that ball moving back into that forward 50 direction. And that's Kaya getting the ball and playing on quickly. Moves it to Lindsay. Lindsay pushing that ball forward into the breeze. The bounce is going to be important. That's Catherine Hoa there in that forward pocket. Just pushes the ball over the sideline and we'll have a boundary throw in again. Plenty of good support for the Seattle female team from their male counterparts who have had a very strong campaign as well. Great tackle there coming in the forward 50, but the ball just manages to get around, and that could be the opening major of the game. It is. Goal umpire agrees. Very scrappy, but the result is all that matters for the Minnesota Freeze, rushing the goal for the first major of the game on the Watch AFL scoreboard, which is now 1-1-7. Minnesota leading the Seattle Grizzlies yet to score. So Division 1 Women's Field 2 11 a.m. game, Seattle Grizzlies versus the Minnesota Freeze. Been a fairly balanced contest here at the moment. Minnesota running into a very strong and probably strengthening breeze from right to left on your screen as Seattle come out of the centre clearance with the slight advantage in that exit. And that there is Kacher, number 11 from Seattle, who's been in amongst all the action here early for them. Umpire said that ball's down the ground, we're going to go again. Nice work there from the Minnesota ruck. Minnesota needed a little bit of shepherding assistance there to do it, but managed to get some clean hands around the ball. Great pick up and run, use of the legs by Lindsay. Such a strong runner, an athlete there, taking that ball in the forward 50, pushing it forward through to number 23, which is Kaya. Takes it, run and a bounce, finishes it beautifully there. Lovely passage of play from the Minnesota Freeze players. Started from some strong running from Lindsay out of the centre square. Found Kaya on a lead in the 50 all by herself, and then managed to turn and burn. Fantastic little passage of play. So that takes us now to 2 goals, 1-13. Minnesota over Seattle 0 on the Watch AFL scoreboard on field 2 here this morning. The umpire bringing the ball back towards the middle. We're reaching the 10-minute mark of the first half, halfway through the first half, which means we are a quarter gone in this game. Ball is up again. Seattle probably come away with the win off that centre bounce, or centre ball up, I should say. It looked as though that was a push in the back. The umpire agrees with me. That'll be a free kick towards Seattle. Player on the mark. Nicely looking for some player movement from Seattle to see someone on a lead. That ball being kicked with the breeze, it's always a hard one to judge as an attacking player towards the ball, as it's going to sit up or keep floating, which it did that time there. Seattle putting the ball back into the middle corridor, looking to try and go the most direct path to goal. But Minnesota coming away and got numbers and space here at the moment. The ball coming in on a lead. It's Corey Daling. April Munn, however, the experience of April, understanding where that ball was moving to, and was able to move herself nicely in a position to clean that up and move that ball out for Seattle there at the moment. Umpire seen a holding. Free kick Seattle. So Minnesota players there, they had plenty of numbers, probably could have let that ball go a little bit more rather than trying to force an outcome, and just held the player just a little bit too long without the ball. Seattle looking to run the ball a little bit more as they push the ball towards the middle. Lovely kick and lovely mark from the Seattle player. She's got numbers off to her right just to go for a short kick, or could have been a handball potentially as we move forward into Amanda Bowe pushing that ball forward in a great contest there. We got numbers there from Minnesota, but great defense, strong defensive effort. Incorrect disposal, just was not able to get to the foot to ball. Umpire says that'll be a free kick to Seattle. Wonderful defensive effort there from player number 36, being Anna Brancati for Seattle. Really worthy of getting on the score sheet here after that effort. So let's see how Anna goes. Win behind her back. I believe she's been successful. Just got it over the players on the line, reaching up to try and reach it. Congratulations, Anna. Fantastic reward for her effort there in the defence. So Seattle pulling a goal back there on the Watch AFL scoreboard. They're now 1 goal 6, trailing the Minnesota Freeze 2 goals 1-13. Lovely passage of play. Started there, I believe it was through Katja Hewitt from Seattle, player number 11, moving that ball across then into Anna Brancati, and ultimately a rush defensive effort created the opportunities. The ball goes up there again. Apologies, Amelia Carr, who started that movement previously, number 13 for Seattle. She's been well in the activity already in this first half, as Minnesota looking to move that ball forward. A fairly high kick being held up in the breeze. Minnesota player diving down on top of the Seattle player on the ground. Umpire said that was all okay, but we're just now going to ball it up. Seattle again dominant out of the centre clearance as that ball moves forward. Just trying to get that ball just handing outside that forward 50 of Seattle. Really trying to attack and get that goal a little bit more even. Socket off the ground by Minnesota, just out towards the right-hand flank. Nice little pick up from the Minnesota player on the ground, but great tackle. Create the opportunity, incorrect disposal. Try and get a number on that player who created that tackle and that turnover. Right in front of a bench, well recognised and rewarded by her teammates there for that effort. Coach Andrew Donnelly will be very happy with that. And again, Seattle playing some nice football, but Minnesota coming straight back at them through the middle. Quickest way to goal, straight up the middle, and that's what they're doing there at the moment. Minnesota, the players up front, got plenty of run. Nice use of the hands, but intercept there by Alessandra Alcoca. But Connor Lewis, the experience of her knowing where that ball's going to fall, pushes the ball straight back up towards that forward 50 line as 4 players in pursuit. Nice use of the body by the Minnesota player. She able to hold her feet nicely there as well. That's Kaya Segola pushing the ball up forward in towards Lauren Shelton, and she comes up nicely. Lauren putting the ball towards the goal. It's going to be all come down to the bounce, but unfortunately just takes a bounce to the left, and that'll go through for a behind. Very nice play there by Minnesota, quickly on the turnover to push the ball forward. Just saw that breeze. It was going towards the main goals, but just didn't have the length. April Munn back there for the defensive kick out. Nice strong kick from April. Probably looking to find that boundary line just to create a stoppage and try and reset and go again. But Minnesota have different ideas. Bring ball, handball over the top, finds the player. Nice little attempted intercept mark, but certainly stopped the ball going into the forward 50 as far as it could have. A few bodies in different locations. Minnesota quickly to move that ball with the hands. But Seattle doing a nice job getting plenty of players behind it, but strong running through there. I believe that's Lindsay. Very strong through contact, able to break free of that tackle there was Lindsay, but unfortunately the accuracy of the goal kicking just let her down. So that's another behind there for the Minnesota Freeze as adjudicated by the goal umpire. So turning our eye to the Watch AFL scoreboard, we'll see that's Seattle 1-0-6, trailing Minnesota Freeze 2 goals to 14. Umpire sees an incorrect disposal there from Minnesota, so that'll be a free kick towards Seattle. Running with the very strong breeze in this first half. I think any sort of those free kicks, they really want to be looking to move and play on quickly. Keep that ball downfield. So a nice low driving kick from the Seattle players down the left-hand side. Umpire saw that the ball had been released and was holding without the ball, so free kick there to Minnesota, deservedly so. Player was committed but probably had their head down and couldn't see the ball had been disposed of. Good entry into the 50 there, and a strong, fantastic mark. Oh, ball hit the ground, but was then slung down and pushed in the backs as the umpire, the player on the ground, so it'll be a free kick to Seattle. Unfortunately, I think it was Gretchen Gilbreth in defence coming forward. She pushes the ball out again there, the defensive 50 going up the left-hand wing. Very nice pick up from hands from the Seattle player. She pushes it forward with a strong running game. Seattle looking to bring back here with the breeze. That was over too high over the shoulder, the umpire agrees. And so that'll be a free kick there to Seattle. Another 5 minutes on the clock approximately there for this first half of the Division 1 women's game between Seattle and Minnesota. Players down on the ground. Umpire says that was all fair. We're going to have a ball up there about just outside the centre square and in just outside the forward 50 there for Seattle. Ball is up. Katie Hewitt, again, very strong in that ruck contest. And that ball somehow manages like a cake of soap to slip its way out. Amelia Carr pushes that forward, or pushes that ball in the forward 50, able to break a tackle, but unfortunately the accuracy just letting the Seattle players down there at the moment. That ball looks as though it was out on the full, just to the left-hand side of the behind post. So that'll be a free kick for Minnesota. I believe that's Lauren Bull, the Minnesota player who's got the ball there at the moment for the kick-in. So Wynn coming across left to right, she's going to play on because no one was holding the mark. Sensible play there to get an easy sort of 10-15 metres before she finds a free player right up there on the 50. Nice play there by Lauren to see the opportunity and create the space, and a strong lead from her teammate as she then pushes the ball upfield. And we're saying that's a mark taken, a mark awarded there to the Minnesota player. Catherine Mullen it might be who took that mark from Minnesota. She pushed that ball forward again. Correct call from the umpire, seeing that Minnesota player was coming over the shoulder of the Seattle player there. So free kick is awarded to Gretchen Gilbreth, who's had a great game so far in this first half in defence from Seattle, as has April Munn. A little bit of body work there from both Minnesota and Seattle players, just trying to create a little bit of space and separation. Umpire says there was a holding or a sling. So free kick Minnesota, held without the ball. So Connor Lewis is over here in the corridor, looking to try and create some space, but Seattle intercept again. That was Olivia Keski from Minnesota who had that free kick. Tried to move it in, but some good running here from Seattle. There's Connor Lewis referring before, just in that corridor, just hovering. Knew exactly where Seattle were going to be trying to move that ball. And the two players wrestling for it there probably could have used a little bit of help from one of the players to either shepherd or create that shepherd opportunity in space as that ball moved again quickly back downfield by Seattle. Socket off the ground by the Minnesota player, might be Lauren Allers. Connor Lewis again showing her skills just to keep that ball moving forward, as she unfortunately just couldn't pick it up, but she's quickly back to her feet. Seattle just driving that ball nice and low. Back up again. See how this ball favours a bounce for Connor Lewis. She's going to try and run around, is she? Yes, she does get around. 48 takes a quick bounce. Connor getting into the 50. What she got? A little entry. Nice looking bounce. Soft hands over there to Lauren Shelton, but just couldn't get the hook on the snap she was looking for, and is still just short of the goal line there. Do a fantastic job keeping the ball in play. Lauren gets a second chance. It's Lindsay gets a second opportunity, but all that was there created by their wing on the right-hand side, who did a great effort to keep the ball in play to create that opportunity for Lindsay to finish the goal off for what is now their third goal of the game. So going back to that Watch AFL scoreboard as we reach the half-time, we have the Minnesota Freeze leading 3-20 over the Seattle Grizzlies, 1-6. That's the first half completed in this Division 1 women's game, and we will be back after some half-time messages from the sponsors. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Half time here on Field 2 in the Division 1 women's fixture between the Seattle Grizzlies and the Minnesota Freeze. We currently have the Minnesota Freeze leading 3-3-21 over the Seattle 1-0-6 as we are about to get the second half back underway. Very good first half performance from both teams, really. A very balanced affair. Minnesota were running into a very strong breeze, so turning the corner here in this second half, they'll be running left to right with the breeze at their backs. We have seen over the course of the weekend that hasn't always necessarily been to the advantage of that team. But here we go, we're getting underway here now. Minnesota win the actual clearance out of the middle. Nice little bit of body work put in place there from Seattle, who have been really impressive in their contests around the defensive efforts in those stoppages. That ball very, very quickly moved forward there in the moment towards number 23, being Liz Ed, who pushes the ball further forward as that ball rushed over the boundary line. Well, good little start from Minnesota here to the first bit of the second half, and we're going to see them really try and lock this ball in. That forward 50, I think you'll see here at the moment. They've got a really strong forward line. We saw yesterday number 30 there in Lindsay Ellison, who had a great couple of goals and kicked already one goal in this in the first half. So I should say, as a fantastic little ball moving around the corner. Over it is to number 20, Corey Daling, who gets us underway in the second half quickly with another major, which takes her tally for 2 for this round 3 fixture. Ominous signs there for the Seattle Grizzlies, which takes the scoreboard, the Watch AFL scoreboard, over there to Minnesota Freeze 4-3-27 over Seattle 1-0-6. Ball back now into the middle of the umpire, putting it up. Minnesota win that tap contest again. Again, Seattle getting plenty of numbers around the ball. What can they do with here? The umpire correctly sees that the Seattle player was unfortunately holding the Minnesota player there, being Catherine Gorgiadis, who was awarded the free kick. Just did not have clean possession of the ball, and the Seattle player attempted to tackle and hold it back. Nice strong kick down forward by Georgiadis in that forward area, but Seattle doing a nice job there. That looks like it's Connor Lewis, number 25 out there. The experience of her, again, just knowing where that ball's going to be or how best to position her as that ball comes out of a rush clearance, as that ball again enters the forward 50 for the Freeze and is rushed over the sideline there by Alessandra Alcoca. See here again the Freeze looking to lock that ball in the 50 as the ball comes over from the boundary umpire in a pretty flat arc. Good tackle, probably no real prior opportunity from that player to dispose of that ball. The umpire saw it came out, but now they've seen that it's been held up long enough they'll put a ball up in the air. Freeze doing a good job there of just creating some stoppage opportunity. Players were probably a little bit late to realise that ball was going up, but great work in the background there by Amelia Carr from Seattle. Has done a fantastic job to be in defensive all day there at the moment to clean up a lot of that entry ball. A lot of bodies on the ground there. Umpire says that's enough. Let's bring the ball reset, ball up in the air. Been interesting to hear what both coaches would have said at half time in those sort of respective huddles. Seattle would have been pretty happy with their defensive effort here in that first half, but appreciate that moving into the breeze, they're going to try and have to maintain their running game, keep that ball in hand. Minnesota, we know, already have a very strong running game, but have some very strong kicks, so I expect to see them really getting some distance with their kicks, whether it's kicking a goal or kicking down, with some great pressure being brought on that far side. Again, Minnesota, strong effort there by Kaya Seguya. And the other Minnesota player, who may be Connor Lewis. A little bit of scrappy play being created there at the moment from both teams. Umpire sees holding and a sling. Is awarding a free kick there to Seattle into player number 42, being Monica Whitehouse. Monica sees the Seattle player running off the right shoulder, quickly moves the ball onto her, thinking that she had a little bit more time than she really did. But a nice little follow-up effort there by the Seattle player to make the tackle that they needed to, which I believe was Jennifer Anderson. Seattle doing a really good job of not allowing Minnesota the opportunity to get clean possession until I give them the commentator's curse and they come away with it, with Lindsay taking a mark just outside the forward 50. Now we know Lindsay's got a very strong boot. Her soccer background from University of Minnesota, as she pushes that ball nicely into a strong lead from Lauren Shelton, but just was unable to take a clean mark for another set shot. Lindsay following up a kick, picks up the ball. Certainly will not have an issue with the distance. The accuracy will be the only thing that will worry her, but the goal umpire says it was not a problem whatsoever, Brendan. So well done there from Lindsay, who started that forward entry into Lauren, but followed up a kick and successfully kicks what is her second goal of the game as well, to make it 2 majors for the second half for the Minnesota team. So that takes the Watch AFL scoreboard. We have Seattle 106, trailing the Minnesota Freeze 5 goals, 3-33. Really nice passage of play there from Seattle, really creating no very clean opportunity for the Minnesota Freeze, but just when I gave them that curse, the ball popped out and they're very quickly able to show how they can quickly move that ball into space to players such as Lindsay and Lauren in that forward line to create those opportunities. Seattle doing a nice job in their hand movement. The umpire correctly sees that the lady had a head over ball and was bumped high, so that'll be a free kick there to Seattle. And that goes to Katia Hewitt again, who's had a very strong game. Looking upfield at the moment, Katia trying to see if someone's leading to her. She finds that ball across to, unfortunately, just got intercepted there by Olivia Keski, number 15 for Minnesota. As that ball moves forward into Lauren's area again, April Munn, ever reliable on the back, just unable to get that ball onto a left foot quick enough with a strong defensive effort through player 19 being Jessica Nelson, who sees Lindsay up front, just couldn't get the clean grab. Lauren Shelton there to clean up some of the crumbs, moves the ball forward to Kaya, who runs the ball in and kicks it straight between the posts. Third goal there in the second half to the Minnesota Freeze. Ominous signs here at the moment for Seattle. Really will need to be looking to get that ball forward, and we saw they're just struggling as they have to have that free kick as they looked upfield to see players leading towards the ball or creating opportunities on that 45. Running into a stiff breeze, their best options are to either look for that 45 to change the corridor or channel they're playing in, or even have someone running through from behind. Nice start there from Seattle. Umpire in the forward 50 saw something in the centre setup that he didn't like and has awarded a free kick through to the Freeze. Unsure what that was, that call. Anyway, free kick awarded there to Catherine Hoha, who pushes the ball nicely down 30 or so metres. Picked up off the ground by Catherine Georgiadis. Georgiadis looking for someone on the inside in the corridor, but unfortunately had some good pressure applied from the Seattle player. Liz Ed, I think it might be, no, double zero. Don't have that player's number, sorry. But yeah, very strong defensive effort from, just prevented Georgiadis from getting that ball away. Unfortunately, a nice strong kick found its way directly to the Minnesota player, who easily intercepted the uncontested mark. Pushes the ball straight downfield with a little bit of interest back on it with that strong breeze at her back. Ball unable to be marked cleanly and ball hits the ground. Plenty of players from both teams there to try and disrupt any possession. Seattle coming away the better of it out of that sort of contest with some lovely running down the sideline. But a great chase there from Minnesota, able to clean it all up. But this is a promising passage of play here from Seattle. Ball takes a terrible bounce, but what we have here at the moment, that's over the shoulder. the umpire agrees with me and says, Brendan, I could see what you were saying. That's a high tackle free kick here to Amelia Khan, who's deserved of a goal. Had a very strong performance in that first half and has been in everything so far here as well. Did a fantastic job. She was outnumbered, was able to create the contest and was awarded the free kick. Into a very stiff breeze. Makes absolutely no mistake. Amelia Carr, well deserved and recognised for a strong effort today with the first points in the second half for the Seattle Grizzlies, and it is a major, taking them to 2-0-12, trailing the Minnesota Freeze 6-3-39. Wonderful passage of play there from the Grizzlies, pushing that ball down that right hand wing. Minnesota tried valiantly to defend it, but just some good strong running there from Amelia into that forward 50 really was then rewarded for her efforts. Seattle will be looking to maintain that and see if they can be next to score again. As we've got Liz Eade from Minnesota going up in the ruck against Kataya. Seattle moving the ball forward. Doing a nice job there to spoil the ball was Lisa Formenton. Ball on the ground. Strong defensive pressure there again, coming from the way of Seattle. Plenty of Seattle players and Minnesota players are getting around the ball, not creating clean opportunities around those stoppages. Catch here again in the ruck there for Seattle, doing a good job. Minnesota player down the ground, Seattle player from behind. Not sure if they were in the back. The umpire said no, it was enough and we're going to have a ball up there. Just in that centre square area still. Officials have been doing a fantastic job all weekend, and certainly emphasised here again by the way they're officiating the game. As a strong hit out there from Seattle, unfortunately just didn't have someone around the clock where they needed them. Very, very easy. Now Lindsay here, she's got a strong kick. She throws the ball up in the air. We can see Lauren down the back, what she got available to April, doing a fantastic job defensively. Strong effort from April to hold Lauren out there with that ball in the air. Ball did not go 15. Lauren makes a nice handball out again. It's off to Kaya Seguya, but it looks as though it was touched in flight, so that is just going through for a behind. Nice work there from Lauren, unselfishly moving that ball to someone in a better position than herself. That should be 6-4, I believe. April Munn with the kick out, looking to find a leading Seattle player. They had two both go up for the ball, but there's three Minnesota players there doing a nice job with the Shepherds. Nice little work of Lauren in this right-hand pocket, Eddie Bett's pocket, again unselfishly finds the player. The fantastic little passage of play there from the Freeze. Great team goal between those two players, interchanging handballs, and ultimately the ball getting kicked through the goal by Kaya. Scoreboard, the Watch AFL scoreboard updated there. We have the Minnesota Freeze 7-4-46, leading the Seattle Grizzlies 2-0-12. Takes us out to over a 6-goal lead at the moment, which is going to be very hard for Seattle to see them coming back from there at the moment. Seattle doing a really good job, had a lot of run in their legs, but I think with that momentum turning there at the moment, we might start to see Minnesota run away with this a little bit here at the moment with some fresher legs. Again, Lauren Skelton in the back line there, but April Munn doing a fantastic job of just ensuring that ball's seen over the boundary line for a throw-in. Lauren Shelton up in that forward pocket there has been a very dominating force this weekend. We saw that particularly yesterday in the game against the Golden Gate. Ball just not far enough in as the boundary umpire throwing the ball directly into a very stiff breeze, so does the right thing and comes in 5 or 6 steps to get that ball a little bit further into the centre corridor, towards the centre corridor. Nice looking throw in, well done there by Lauren Burrows-Chen in that ruck on what is a much taller opponent, but using her experience to show how it can be done. Olivia Keski there just didn't allow for the win and kick the ball out in the full, so it'd be a free kick there to Seattle. So we see Catcher running back down there for the free kick. Looking for players probably down the line rather than putting it back into the corridor at the moment. She's got Pyrusha coming from behind. Big strong chase from Jerry Johnson-Chambers from Minnesota. Seattle failing to sort of communicate with their teammate there to let her know that she needed some help. I had some pressure coming, need to get that ball rid of it a little bit quicker as Jerry moves that ball further towards that sort of 50 line. Tackles and efforts coming from both Seattle players there, being Megan Whitehouse. And Seattle just happy to watch that ball go over the sideline for another boundary throw-in. Nice ball up again, Lauren Burrows-Chen, and also with Megan Whitehouse competing in the ruck there at the moment. Megan gets the better of that contest there. Oh, Amelia Khan mowing Lauren Burrows-Chen down in a strong behind tackle. Lovely kick up the line there by Amelia. Unfortunately, just couldn't find a free player running through. And at the end of the day, we have Jennifer Anderson being tackled to the ground to create another stoppage. Not a bad play there from Seattle, just to keep advancing the ball downfield a little bit, creating stoppage along the way. They've been dominant all day in the stoppages. Some body work there coming over the top with Burrows-Chen out of the way. But the Minnesota player came back in for a second bump with a little bit too high, being Catherine Georgiadis. Ball moving down the line with a wonderful mark almost taken there by the Seattle player, being Valerie Barber-Axlom, doing a great job there, leading, but defensively well covered by Jessica Haas as well. Wonderful boundary throw in there by the boundary umpire. Straight back in the middle, strong chance. He'll get another chance to do it again, but off the foot on the full. That should be a free kick. It is to Minnesota. Umpires, officials have missed that one there. That's right, we'll go back to the ruck there again. Good use of the body by both players. Minnesota coming away with Lauren Burrows-Chen. Ball on the foot. Ball up in the air. Umpire says ball not 15. Mark not paid. Ball still on the ground. A little bit of scrappy work. Ball being covered. Nice little intercept handball. Good tackle coming in from behind from Olaf. Been a very strong defender all day, Olaf, and yesterday there as well, but a very lovely mark. Ball just falls nicely into the hands of 00, but just didn't have the length to get there. Seattle, two players back there, managed to get the ball out to April in defence for a rush behind. Great defensive scramble there from Seattle to get numbers back behind the ball to work with one another, to only ensure that was a behind, not a full goal. 7-5-47 to 2-0-12. We have Minnesota over Seattle there at the moment. Umpires ask them to come back. There's actually a free kick, apologies, awarded to Seattle. April Munn there kicking the ball out on the full. Just that wind just picking up a little bit of a gust. She's calling for one of her players to hold the mark. I'm sure they don't run away with it and try and play on quickly. Jerry Johnson-Chambers with the free kick. Sneaks it through for a behind. Thought they might have caught some P players napping. So now we should be 7-5-47 to 2-0-16. Minnesota leading the Seattle Grizzlies with a few minutes left to play in this round 3 fixture. April Munn again delivering the kick out, probably what she was looking to do only moments earlier. Jerry Johnson-Chambers had a very strong second half here at the moment, plenty of touches. Strong tackle coming over the top. Umpire says just a little bit too much in the back. So it's going to be a free kick there to April Munn. Good talk there from the Seattle players, and she was left the mark early, so it's going to be awarded 50-metre free to April Munn and the Seattle Grizzlies as she brings that ball downfield. And April, no one holding the mark, so very sensibly plays on, pushes that ball downfield again. Play on, players, the umpire's call. Good work defensively there from Natalie Griffin there from Seattle, and again from Lindsay from Minnesota Freeze. Using her strong, great team tackle there from Seattle. Ball just slipped out here as well. I think was this Jessica Haas down the wing, 18. I think that's a sling. Jessica Haas was awarded the free kick for a sling from 36, being Anna Brancati. So just a free kick awarded here to Haas. Haas having a look downfield to see what her options are available, see if anyone's leading. She might just push this ball down the line. Haas makes a really nice kick down the field. Connor Lewis chasing after it, but unfortunately the ball just beats her over the boundary line. That'll be a ball throw-in. Burrows Chen for Minnesota and also Hewitt there for Seattle. Ball gets captured by the wind. Seattle really been dominant around those contests all day, just looking for this ball to sit up quickly. Unfortunately, ball just rushed across the line for Menton, just unable to get possession of it. We had Liz Ed from Minnesota coming across quickly there as well. Back into the rucks here at the moment. We've got Hewitt versus Burrows Chen, which has been a great contest this second half. Nice Burrows Chen comes away with the peanuts this time. Good running, but Minnesota, 3 players there quickly as a full-time siren sounds. We have Seattle 2-0-12 defeated by the Minnesota Freeze 7-5-47 in the round 3 fixture in the Division 1 Women's. Congratulations to the Minnesota Freeze, who have gone through the regular rounds undefeated, and Seattle, I believe, are 1-2, apologies. Now that takes us to the end of this game. Thank you very much for joining us. We will speak to you again soon. A couple of words from our sponsors.